What's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Personal Finance Series. I know it's after a very long time. In this episode, we're going to talk about $0 budgeting technique, which I use in my day-to-day life to manage my money, to manage my finances, my expenses. It's not a technique by me, it's by Dave Ramsey, who's a financial expert. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Let's get started. Before I get started, I just want to quickly mention that some of you are asking me where are the vlogs and why vlogs are not coming. It's actually coming. It's on the Yudi J Vlogs channel. I started a new channel for those of you who might have missed that. Link in the description. That's my vlog channel. That's where I'm going to be uploading vlogs. This is going to be more of informational, study abroad, personal finance, educational channel. Before anything, I just want to mention that, like I said, this is a technique by Dave Ramsey, who is a personal finance expert. If you don't know about Dave Ramsey, you should probably know about him. He's written many books. One of my favorite books is Total Money Makeover. If you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. If you don't have money to buy right now, you should go watch his YouTube videos. It's also called Dave Ramsey. Link in the description. You should watch it. This video is not sponsored by him. But Dave Ramsey, if you're ever watching this video, he doesn't need my promotion. He has millions of subscribers already. Anyway, that's the guy I follow for my personal finances. And one of the technique he mentions is $0 budgeting technique. Before going into the technique, I want to talk about budgeting. What really is budgeting? When you hear the word called budgeting, it's really planning your expenses, planning your income into several expenses category. As simple as that. For example, when if you've ever planned a wedding or a birthday party, as simple as that, you ask, the first question is like, what's the budget for this? When you ask that, you really just want to know how much is the budget, so total money, which is you're gonna get as a planner, so that you can put it into several different categories. That's exactly what you have to do in your personal finance as well. When you make certain amount of money, which is your household income or your income, and you divide that income into several different categories, that's called budgeting. That's called planning your finances for the month, for the year, etc. Now let's talk about $0 budgeting. What that means is that basically at the end of your planning, at the end of your budgeting, you will have $0 left. It's kind of confusing. It really means that let's say if you're making $1,000 a month, you have to plan every single dollar until it hits $0, which means, let's say $1,000, $500 for rent, $200 for utilities and expenses, $200 for savings, $100 for investment, $50 for giving donations, etc. So you keep planning into several different categories until that $1,000 reaches $0. So every single dollar you make have to have a certain category assigned to it. That is called $0 budgeting technique. So now the question is, what are these expense categories? There are no predefined categories. You can define the category yourself. I have my categories. You might have same categories. You might have different categories. Try doing this with the paper first, and then obviously use the apps. I use apps all the time, and I'll recommend what apps I use, but I really want you to understand the concept first and then use the apps, because when you start using apps, you become lazy. So understand the concept on the paper first. Okay, so back to the categories. Now, very obvious categories are the ones which the expenses which you cannot get rid of. For example, light bill, electricity bill, internet bill, phone bill. These are all utilities. You can categorize one whole thing into utilities and maybe make subcategories, or you can have several different categories like four. So I have several categories like water, trash. We have a trash bill as well. If you're a homeowner, you probably know this. We have electricity and we have internet. I also have phone. So 5 expenses, utility expenses, which there's no escape from this. You have to pay every single month. Similarly, rent and mortgage. If you are renting, then you have a rent. There's no escape. You have to put it down. Mortgage, there's no escape. You have to put the mortgage down, right? So those are like six categories, right? You know this. There's no escape. So let's say if you're making $1,000, 500 goes into the rent, rest 25. If you're most likely as a student, you'll be sharing. So then 25, 35, whatever that amount is, put it down into the other 6 categories. Then comes the food. Obviously, that is another expense which you don't have a lot of control. You have a little bit of control, like what you eat, but you have to eat something. You need something, right? So grocery can be another. Some people might also have additional expenses like gym membership. So every month you might have to pay that. Some people who have car, you might have car insurance, and if you buy the car on loan, then you'll have car loan category as well. After that, what I like to do is I like to at least put down 5, if not 10%, at least 5% of your money into investment. That is the first thing you want to do, is like start investing early. That's the mistake I did. I don't want you to make the same mistake. Start investing. And when I say investing, you don't want to buy GameStop and all those fancy stocks. You just want to invest in the index funds or ETFs. And some of my favorites are VOO, which is Vanguard 500 ETF, that's only available in the United States, or mutual funds, things like that. I'll link below my favorite ones. Also, I use Robinhood to invest my money, or Webull. I use both of them. So link in the description. If you use those links, you will get 2 free stocks right now. Another category you want to have is saving. So the plan is, before you start investing, don't start investing. The first step should be to get an emergency funds, which is like basically 6 months of salary. If you lose your job today, you should have 6 months of your expenses, not salary, but 6 months of your expenses covered as your savings. So that way you are not in that panic zone and you can use that money which you have saved. That's called emergency funding. So you want to save enough. So you want to create a category called savings. So, keep saving, always have the budgeting in saving category, and keep putting the money down until you hit that 6 months of emergency savings or emergency fund. Once you have hit that target, I would repurpose that saving, maybe decrease the saving a little bit, maybe just put 5% and then put 5% into investment, or obviously you want to also put into retirement fund, which is another category. We'll talk about this. So there's something called 6 baby steps to financial freedoms. I'll talk about it in a separate video. I just want to focus this one on the budgeting. So again, savings category, investment category, that is another one. What I also do, something which I think you should also do, is, let's say if you want to buy a camera, let's say, right? If you want to buy a camera or whatever equipment or gears, phone is a good example. You want to buy a phone in a year or so. You don't want to purchase it on a credit card and then start paying off the money every month, because nowadays that's what people do, because it's a $0 interest or something like that, and then people are like, oh, I'm not gonna pay anything, it's a 0% APR, and I'm just gonna swipe it up and then start paying for next 15 months. You don't want to do that. Instead, create a plan, put it in your budget, saying that saving for iPhone is a category. Every month you're going to save $50 or so, $50 to $60, and after maybe 20 months or so, you will have $2,000. Oh, sorry, not $2,000, $1,000, and that $1,000 you can use to purchase some money. So what I'm trying to say is, get into that mindset of budgeting ahead of time for the future things which you want to buy, you might want to buy. So there it is. That is what the $0 budgeting technique is. I can go on and on and on and on about this thing because it's my favorite topic to talk about. But that's what $0 budgeting is. You have certain amount of money you are making right now. Maybe it's you and your wife combined it, or you and your family members combine it together. That is your household income, and start assigning a category to each one of them. That's budgeting. Regardless of you use this $0 technique or not, budgeting is something you should be doing, so that way you have a visual plan. You have a vision where your money is going to be spent when you have that money. A lot of people don't do this and they miss out. They don't realize it, that they are making the money is going out. Where the heck the money is going? This is why a lot of people go into that debt and credit card loans and all of that. So that's why you need to have budgeting technique. Please regardless of you use this or not, use budgeting. Like, just budget your money. Make sure you have a financial plan for your monthly expenses. Coming to apps which I use, there are multiple apps in personal finance which I use. The number one for budgeting is Mint. That's the app I use, and you can use that. There are several others. I use Mint just because I've been using it. I'll be doing a little bit more research to make a detailed video on the apps. There are some other apps which I will talk about in the baby steps video when I make that. The beauty of this app is that you create the budget categories just like I said, and it's just digital instead of on paper. You will create all these categories, and it comes with a template, so it'll create some and then you can delete some and add some. Once you have created that category, what Mint app does is it can also connect with your bank account, your credit card, debit card, and all of that. Once you have connected all of it, as soon as you swipe something, it creates a transaction. And you can start categorizing your each transaction. So let's say if you're making 100 transaction, Mint app is smart enough to figure out like, oh, this looks like an utility, or this looks like an entertainment, this looks like XYZ. So whatever that category is, it's going to categorize on its own, or it's going to say it's uncategorized and it'll leave it up to you to categorize it. So you can categorize it, and then every time that transaction happens, it's going to put it right into that category. So you have a budget, and it will show you that how much you are off budget or you are on budget, whatever it is. So that's what I use. You're more than welcome to use it. You can use something else as well. If you use something else, please link in the below. Let me know in the comments below, so that way I know. I'll put the link of Mint. This is not sponsored at all. None of the things I said is sponsored. Start budgeting. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this. If you're doing budgeting and if you're using some different technique or some innovative techniques, please let me know as well. More than happy to learn from you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep smiling and keep hustling. You gotta hustle every single day.